Okay, so why am I doing this accent? Anyways, so just to let y'all know that I'm alive, I will be reading to you from Wikipedia, obviously. The legend? No, not legend. Of Baba Vanga. Alright, so, just to get you all in the clear, Vanga is Baba Vanga was blind since early childhood, and she was in an accident which made her able to have predictions of the future. And so I just thought it would be an interesting thing to read. And if no one wants to read it, well, actually read it. You can just listen to this. So here we go. Life. Vanga was born in 1911 to Pando Sergev, the 7th of May, 1873, to the 8th of November, 1940, and Parsekva Sorjeva in Strumica of the Ottoman Empire before the city was ceded to Bulgaria in 1912. She was a premature baby who suffered from health complications. In accordance with local tradition, the baby was not given a name until it was deemed likely to survive. When the baby first cried out, a midwife went into the street and asked a stranger for a name. The stranger proposed Andromache, which is spelled Andromaha. But this was rejected for being too Greek during a period of anti-Hellenic sentiment. Within Macedonian Bulgarian society, another stranger's proposal was a Greek name, but she was Bulgarian, Vangelia, from Evangelos. In her childhood, Vangelia was an ordinary child with brown eyes and blonde hair. Her father was an internal Macedonian revolutionary organization activist, conscripted into the Bulgarian army during World War I, and her mother died soon after. This left Vanga dependent on the care and charity of neighbors and close family friends for much of her youth. After the war, Strumica was ceded to the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovens. Yugoslav authorities arrested her father because of his pro-Bulgarian activity. They confiscated all his property, and the family fell into poverty for many years. Vanga was considered intelligent for her age. Her instinctions started to show up when she herself thought out games and loved playing healing. She prescribed some herbs to her friend who pretended to be ill. her father, being a widower, eventually remarried, providing a stepmother to his daughter. According to her testimony, a turning point in her life occurred when a tornado allegedly lifted her into the air and threw her into a nearby field. She was found after a long search. Witnesses described her as very frightened, and her eyes were covered in sand and dust. She was unable to open them because of the pain. There's money for partial operation to heal her injuries that she had sustained. This resulted in gradual loss of sight. In 1925, Vanga was brought to a school for the blind in the city of Zemun. Zemun, is that right? In the kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slavs, where she spent 3 years and taught to read Braille, play piano, as well as knitting, cooking, and cleaning. After the death of her stepmother, she had to go back home and take care of her younger siblings. Her family was very poor. She had to work all day. In 1939, Vanga contracted pleasury. Although it remained largely inactive for some years, the doctor's opinion was that she would die soon, but she quickly recovered. During World War II, Yugoslavia was invaded and dismembered by Axis powers, and Srebrenica was annexed by Bulgaria. At that time, Vanga attracted believers in her ability to heal and soothsay. A number of people visited her, hoping to get a hint about whether their relatives were alive or seeking for the place where they died. On the 8th of April, 1942, the Bulgarian Tsar Boris III visited her. On May 10th, 1942, Vanga married Dimitar Gustavov. I think that's how you pronounce it. A Bulgarian soldier from the village of Kranjicla near Petrich, who had come asking for the killers of his brother, but had to promise her not to seek revenge. Shortly before marriage, Dimitar and Vanga moved to Petrich, where she soon became well known. Dimitar was then conscripted in the Bulgarian army and had to spend some time in northern Greece, which was annexed by Bulgaria. He got another illness in 1947, fell into alcoholism. Dang it, I can't pronounce that word right. And eventually died April 1st, 1962. She continued by degenerates and commanders. After World War II, Bulgarian politicians and leaders of different Soviet republics, including General Secretary of Communist Party of the Soviet Union, Leonid Brezhnev, sought her counsel. In the 1990s, a church was built to Rupert by Bogdan Tomilovsky. With money left by her visitors, Vanga died on August the 11th, 1996, from breast cancer. Her funeral attracted large crowds, fulfilling fulfilling Vanga's last will and testament. Her Petrich house was turned into a museum, which opened its doors for visitors on May the 5th, 2008. For work, Vanga was semi-literate in Bulgarian. She could read some Braille Serbian. As she learned Zuman, she did not write any books herself. What she said or allegedly said had been captured by staff members. Later, numerous esoteric books on Vanga's life and predictions were written. Sources such as Unfulfilled Guide to the Paranormal claim that she foretold the breakup of the Soviet Union, the Chernobyl disaster, the day of Stalin's death, the sinking of the Russian submarine cruiser, the September 11 attacks, Tobolov's victory in the World Chess Tournament, the tensions with North Korea. On the other hand, Bulgarian sources say the people who were close to her claim that she never prophesied about Kursk, World War III, circulating on the internet, and that many of the myths about Vanga are simply not true. Some of the evidence has also been presented. Baba Vanga did not make any of the predictions now attributed to her, but rather people frequently attribute new vague prophecies to her since her death, and the lack of written record of her prophecies make any prediction attributed to her difficult to disprove. In 1966, following her increases of her popularity and overwhelming numbers of people wanting to see her, the Bulgarian government put Vanga on state payroll. She was given 2 secretaries and a panel interview potential patients. In addition, the Institutes of Suggestory Parapsychology in Sofia and Petrich studied Vanga's psychic abilities. In early August 1976, Yugoslav actress and singer Silvana Armeniuk was on tour in Bulgaria and decided to meet with Baba Vanga. Vanga only sat and stared out a window. with her back to Silvana, never speaking to her. After a long time, Vanga finally spoke. "Nothing. You do not have to pay. I do not want to speak with you. Not now. Go and come back in 3 months." As Silvana turned around and walked towards the door, Vanga said, "Wait. In fact, you will not be able to come. Go. If you can come back in 3 months, do so." Silvana took this as a confirmation that she would die and left Vanga's home in tears. Armin Nuke died 2 months later, October 10th, 1976, in a car crash with her sister, Marjana. Vanga incorrectly predicted the 1994 FIFA World Cup final would be played between two teams, beginning with B. One finalist was Brazil, but Bulgaria was eliminated by Italy in the semifinals. According to the National, Vanga predicted that World War III would start in November 2010 and last until October the 14th. Followers of Vanga believed that she predicted the precise date of her own death, dreaming that she would die on August the 11th and be buried on August the 13th. Shortly before, she said that a 10-year-old blind girl living in France was to inherit her gift, and that people would soon hear about her. Another prediction attributed to her is that the 45th President of the United States would be the country's last commander-in-chief, favor of the country. It has also been claimed that Vanga correctly predicted the 44th country would be African American. Vanga's supporters also claim that she predicted that the 45th president will be Messianic personality, will be with a Messianic personality, who will be faced with a crisis that eventually brings the country down. Studies on Baba Vanga. An attempt was made in 2011 to systematically summarize the existing knowledge about Vanga in the documentary The Visible and the Invisible World. The movie includes interviews with some people who met Vanga in person, including Sergei Medvedev, the press secretary to then President of Russia Boris Yeltsin in 1995 to 96, who visited as Yeltsin's envoy, Neshka Rabeva, Bulgarian rhythmic gymnast and coach, Sergei Mikhailov, Soviet and Russian writer, author of the Soviet Union anthem. Navana Tosheva, director of the first documentary about Vanga. Krisan Zenov, Kelmic multimillionaire businessman and politician. According to the documentary, Baba Vanga predicted Yeltsin's second electoral victory in 1995 and warned him about his heart condition. Several researchers have studied the phenomenon of Vanga in the attempt to establish wherever she has extraordinary capabilities. One of the first studies was initiated by the Bulgarian government and prescribed in the 1977 movie Phenomenon, directed by Nevena Tosheva. Bulgarian psychiatrists Nikolia Shipkovensky and Georgy Laznov. Dang, these people have weird names. Also studied by the capabilities of Vanga. According to Jeffrey Mishlove, about 80% of the predictions Vanga turned out to be accurate. However, that leaves 20% inaccurate, as far as we know. Additionally, a book was written about her by Russian writer and publicist Andrei Kudin, who has written multiple books about Bulgarian and Chinese history. And in the section in popular culture and criticism, Vangelia, a 24-episode TV series about elements in mythism, was commissioned in 2013 by Channel 1 Russia. The supposed clairvoyance predictions, political speculations with them, and their criticism will continue to appear in mass media in different countries and in different languages. Her supposed predictions and persona remain popular parts in Southeast Europe, primarily Bulgaria, and in North Macedonia, as well as parts of Eastern Europe, especially in Russia. Russian publications related to the mysterious prophetess and are numerous. The Great Encyclopedia of Vanga is a Russian online project dedicated to her. RAS Academian Ye.B. Alexandrov, chairman of the Commission for Combating Pseudoscience and Falsification of Scientific Research, referring to the opinion of another member of the Commission, Yuri Gorny, described the Vanga phenomenon as follows. Vanga was promoted state business, thanks to which provisional region has become a phase of pilgrimage for crowds from all over the world. Do you know who prayed to Vanga the most? Taxi drivers, waiters in cafes, hotel staff are people who thanks to the clairvoyant, had excellent, stable earnings. All of them willingly collected primarily information for Vanga, where the person came from, why, what he hopes, and Vanga then laid out the information to clients as if she saw them herself. They helped with the dossier on clients and special services, under whose cover the state brand worked. The same Bacteria who went to Vanga said it was possible to get reception only with permission of special services. Ale de Vorkan, in his memoirs, cites the case of metropolitan Nathaniel, who was invited by Vanga to his house, since she conveyed throughout the messengers that she needed a device. However, the metropolitan visited Vanga with a relic cross, with a partial of the Holy Cross of the Lord. The following happened. Suddenly, she broke off, and in a changed, low, hoarse voice, she said, "Someone has come here. Let him immediately throw it on the floor. What is it?" The stunned people asked Vanga. And then she broke into a frantic cry. "This!" He held it in his hands. This prevents me from speaking. Because this, I can't see anything. I don't want that to be in my house," the woman yelled, kicking and swaying. Next section: unfulfilled predictions and myths associated with Vanga. Vanga's name is often mentioned in the pages of the Yellow Press. Vanga is credited for various predictions, which often contradict each other. There are no documented opinions that Vanga predicted the death of Stalin, the accident of Chernobyl nuclear power plant, the victory of Boris Yeltsin in 1996 presidential elections, the September 11th attacks, as well as Topolov's victory at the World Chess Championship. In early 1993, Vanga seemed to announce that USSR would be revived in the first quarter of XX1, century. Bulgaria would be part of it. And in Russia, many new people will be born who will be able to change the world. In 1994, Vanga predicted at the end of the XX1 century, humanity will get rid of cancer. I'm pretty sure that means the century. The day will come, and the cancer will be changed in iron chains. She clarified these words in such a way that the medicine against cancer should contain a lot of iron. She also believed that the cure for old age would be invented. It was made from hormones of horse, a goat, and a turtle. The horse is strong, the dog is hardy, and the turtle lives a long time. Before her death, Vanga said, there will come a time of miracles and a great time of great discoveries. in the field of impartial. There will also be great archaeological discoveries that will fundamentally change our understanding of the world since ancient times. So it is predetermined. For example, after the Fukushima nuclear accident, to Komso Pravda reported the impending nuclear disaster, which allegedly predicted Vanga. As a result of radioactive fallout in the northern hemisphere will not be any animals or vegetation, and after 2.5 years, reluctantly recognized this prophecy as unfulfilled. At the same time, people who knew Vanga personally said that she did not give predictions about her death in the Berserk submarine like other events. Most of all these messages are myths and not true. There are numerous cases attributed Vanga did not actually come true. For example, it was predicted that the final of World Cup of 1994 will fight. 2 teams will start with the letter B. But in finals, all the countries whose names start with B were released, only Brazil. In Bulgaria lost in the semifinals to Italy and remained 4th. Vanga allegedly predicted that the Third World War will begin November 10th and will end in October 2014. According to the testimony of Vanga's close friends, she never predicted the outbreak of World War III and the subsequent end of the world. Unfulfilled predictions of Vanga from book by L. Orlova, Vanga, A Look at Russia. 2010, bullet point 1. 2010, the World War will begin in November 2010 and end in October 2014. And will start as usual. Then nuclear weapons will be used first, and then chemical weapons. Bullet point 2. As a result of the radioactive fallout, neither animals nor vegetation will remain in the northern hemisphere. Then Muslims will start a chemical war against the surviving Europeans. 2014. Most people will suffer ulcers, skin cancer, and other skin diseases as a consequence of chemical warfare. Bullet point 4. Europe will be almost deserted. End of bullet points. Anatoly Stroyev, who was in 1985 to 1989 his own correspondent of Komsomolskaya Pravda in Bulgaria, believes that in the USSR about Vanga, journalists invented sensations for the sake of circulation. He spoke about several cases when Vanga grossly was grossly mistaken. The first was his arrival with a journalist who was heading to Vanga for help, and she said that she would never marry and would not have children. Although returning to Moscow, she married and gave birth to a daughter within a year. In the second case, in the late 1980s, several children disappeared in Volgograd at one time, and two correspondents from the popular magazine went to Vanga, who allegedly told them that the children were alive and would soon be found, but they were never found. The third case was in 1991, when during the war in Croatia, Soviet journalists Viktor Nogin and Gennady Kuroyani disappeared, and Vanga said that they were both alive. Although it was never revealed that they were shot on charges of espionage, Struve also refutes the well-known about alarm clock for Gagarin, which the clairvoyant's niece, Kazimira Stoyanov, states in her book The Truth About Vanga. When the actor Vyacheslav Tikhonov allegedly came to Vanga, the letter told him, "Why didn't you fulfill the wishes of your best friend, Yuri Gagarin?" Before his last flight, he came to your home and said, "I have no time, so buy an alarm clock and keep it on your desk. Let this alarm remind you of me." After that, Tikhonov allegedly became ill. Subsequently, Tikhonov allegedly said that after his death of Gagarin, he grievingly experienced the death of his friend, forgot to buy an alarm clock. Stroyev notes that in 1990, at the premiere of the film The Crazy Bus, he met Tikhonov in the cinema and said, "Vyacheslav Vasilyevich, comment on the story with Vanga." Tikhonov in return said, "Ed, in one word, lies. I beg you, write. There was nothing of the kind. I didn't promise Gagarin any alarm clock. Yes, we didn't know each other. I saw him from a distance at official events, nothing more." And that's it for right now. No one knew I was gone. Anyways, so in addition to Stoyanov notes that the prediction attributed to Vanga about sinking of the Russian submarine Kursk was a pseudo prophecy in which even during her lifetime and long before the sinking of Kursk was refuted from her words by journalists Vensislav Zashev. Sorry, I couldn't read that. That was hard to read. former president of the USSR, Mikhail Gorbachev, denied that he was with Vanga, and she predicted the collapse of the USSR. At the same time, Gorbachev said that even before I came to power, her forecast that Mikhail would come to rule was conveyed, but noted that all this by and large nonsense, since he is very critical of physics, clairvoyance, and others, and he does not trust the seers. In 1997, interview Bedros Kirov said that he was no special prophecy about the fate of his son Philip. Despite this, the media is circulating the legend about the role that Vanga allegedly played in the life of the Char-xolotl family. It is stated that after Philip fell ill at age 4, his parents took him to Vanga, who stated that the boy would recover, and also predicted that he would have a great future, since she allegedly saw him with a metal stick on the mountain around which admired people gathered, which is interpreted as the performance of Philip with a microphone at the Music Olympus. At the same time, Vanga allegedly predicted that he would marry at age 27 to a woman with a name beginning with the letter A, and the birth of a daughter at 44 from a surrogate mother. In 2004, the illusionist Yuri Gorny, in an interview with the magazine Science and Life, said the famous journalist and diplomat A.E. Bhavin, who visited Vanga, noted that she absolutely did not guess anything in his past or in his present, or, as it soon turned out, in the near future. Gorny himself recalled that he offered his acquaintance to a well-known journalist whose last name did not name, for reasons that will become clear a little later, to check the perspicacity of Vanga and her possible informants. To do this, he suggested to the journalist, whom the hospitable hosts who helped him arrange a meeting with Vanga, invited to the sauna. Before visiting the bath, seal a part of the scrotum with plaster. He recommended not to answer questions. If any, just make it clear that he does not want to talk on this topic. When meeting with Vanga took place a week later, she, as Grubby notes, described quite accurately what happened to my acquaintance in the past, which, however, is not very surprising. He is a famous person. He would have been able to learn about his life in a week. And an ordinary astrologer, regarding Vanga's prediction of the future, according to Gorney, the following happened. "You'll be fine at work," Vanga said, approximately, "but personal relationships will not develop very well. Unfortunately, serious problems with the reproductive organs will not allow you to create a full-fledged family." My friend told me what efforts he had to keep laughing. Next section in bold. The attitude of the Special Services Bulgaria, USSR, and the USSR. Retired KGB Lieutenant General Oleg Leonov sent Soviet Psychic Vladimir Savinov to Bulgaria several times to study Vanga, who, as Lenov believed, was more abruptly than a Bulgarian healer in his abilities. Retired KGB Lieutenant Colonel Yevgeny Sergeneko noted that she was often mistaken, but it was not customary to disclose it. I should have done that each time I saw something in quotes. Could have done that. Anyways, that's gone now. Since people of the highest flights were sent to Vanga, and therefore she was a way of obtaining information. Where's my accent? For the KGB. Sergeniko expressed the opinion that it cannot be said that Vanga worked for KGB, but her assistants cooperated with us, because with their help, our agents received necessary information. And for this, Special Services in every possible way contributed to the formation of legends about miracle healers on mass scale. Sergeniko said he knows a Bulgarian journalist who was targeted by the special. Okay, let me restart the sentence. Sergeniko said he knows a Bulgarian journalist who was targeted by special services to promote the popularity of Vanga, and he launched the legend about the healer, which the Bulgarian special services helped a bit further. Which the Bulgarian special services helped to develop further, since it was beneficial for both of them, and the KGB. So there is the myth of Baba Vanga. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. If you would like me to do more of these, I apologize for all the errors that I said, all the errors that were said in there. My source is Wikipedia. please let me know if you want me to do more of this. I doubt that you will, due to how my voice is just like, well, how I can't pronounce crap. Yeah, just thanks for listening. Bye. Okay.